Hey, what's up, guys? This is Budget Yu-Gi-Oh! Back with the much anticipated updated zombie deck. Now, I have to apologize. I had a profile ready to go at the beginning of April, but it's been tough to really test this deck without any tournaments going on. So I didn't want to give you guys a video that wasn't finished and like polished. But so I'm gonna present with you what I think is probably the best build to take zombies at the moment. So this is for the most part, a pure it's mostly just zombies without any Elder Lich and also no crazy extenders. Like I don't know, there's a bunch of things you can play like Apprentice Illusion Magician that I've seen in other builds that people have posted, and I don't like playing cards that are kind of useless on their own. So I'm gonna get you guys some cool text and combos that you can do just using mostly zombie cards and some things that have some really good synergy with the deck as it is. So this is mostly a zombie world variant. It's like mid-range because with some new additions you can do more combos, and but they're still trying to just play battle drop control. So I'm just gonna jump into the profile, and if I have time I will do some combos and test hands, or if I don't have time I'll do it in another video. Start off with the monsters. As always, we have double Doom King Ballardrock. So no one ever believes me, but Doom King Ballardrock, when he's on the field with Zombie World, this deck is one of the strongest decks in the game, and he's a reason why I'm the threatening zombie player at locals, because you basically want to get him on the field as soon as possible, and then he's basically a +2 every single turn if you can trigger both of his effects to special summon back from the graveyard if a field spell is in the field, and also banish a monster from the field or graveyard when a zombie's effect is activated. And he's 2800 attack, so he's your win condition. Does everything for you. Basically wins games on its own. And if zombies didn't have this, I probably wouldn't play it competitive or try to play it competitively. But yeah, definitely play 2 Ballardrock, 2 Glow Bloom. So the ratios haven't changed too much, but Bloom just got a lot better with the addition of Halki Fibrax, because it's searchable in another way. So instead of dumping it off Unizombie, you just summon it off of Halki Fibrax, and then you can do more link follow-ups. And level 1 tuner, it also helps you go into level 8 synchros. Yeah, basically if Zombie World's on the field and you send this to graveyard, you can banish it and special summon Doom King from the deck, or Jackal Bolin if you already have access to Doom King. I'll show you guys in the combo later. There's some more flexibility now because Unizombie does way more for the deck. Play 2 Necroworld Banshee. I was considering playing 3 of this because you really want to be able to see Zombie World without having to send Banshee from the deck to the graveyard with Unizombie effect. But yeah, I don't want to play too many bricky cards. So this is not a brick if you have access to Unizombie. If you don't have access to Unizombie, this kind of it's rough because you need to find a way to discard it. We do play a lot of ways you can do that, but maybe like 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 hands, you end up seeing like too many of Banshee and Mizuki. So just something to consider when you're building your deck. If you don't want to see it as often, definitely just stick to 2. I was testing 3 and it seemed like it was more explosive and also more bricky, so that's really your decision. Triple Unizombie. This card is amazing because it's a tuner, it's a Foolish Burial, and it's a free discard from hand. So it's really doing 3 things for you. It's accessing your Halki Fibrax, it's setting up your graveyard, and then it's also unclogging your hand. So Unizombie is pretty essential. Definitely play 3 of those. Also it's level 3, which is helpful because then you can go If you want to synchro for 7 or for 8, Unizombie does both, and you can also, because he adjusts levels, you can do that. He enables synchro and exceed plays. Triple Solitaire basically fetches your Unizombie from the deck, and this is good because it sends a zombie itself to the grave. How do I say this? So it basically sets up one zombie in the graveyard, so it enables you to access Gozuki's second effect, which is you can banish a zombie from the graveyard to special summon one from your hand. So this also helps unclog. So if you open Solitaire, you can go into this to summon your Mizuki or your Banshee from your hand. And then this, yeah, you just send it when you activate his trigger effect, ignition effect to Foolish Burial. It's like a backup play. It's more of an extender and follow-up rather than your main play starter, so I dropped it to 1. Still recommend playing at least 1 so you can access it from the deck. I'm playing Triple Mizuki. I'll be honest, I don't know if this is optimal, but I did get secret rare German and Italian versions, so I am playing 3. You can definitely drop it to 2, but you do want Mizuki's, and depending on your playstyle, because there's a combo I have where I could use 2 Mizuki in the first turn, so I still want an extra 1 in the deck for the grind game. And there's so many ways to send this to graveyard now that it doesn't hurt to play the other one, in my opinion. And if you see in your hand, that just means you pitch it off Unizombie for an additional extender. So I was trying to keep this deck to play more in archetype extenders. So triple Mizuki, and then double Jack-O Bolin. I was gonna play 3, but there's just really no space right now, and you don't need to see this all the time because it's also searchable off of Glow Bloom for you to special summon, or yeah, that's also an alternative if you already have access to Doom King. So Jack-O Bolin is really good because you can just special summon it by discarding a zombie monster. And the main effect is that during your opponent's main phase, you can, as a quick effect, target a zombie monster in either player's graveyard, special summon it, and then banish this card until the end of the turn. So basically like a quick effect monster reborn while your zombie world is up. And then also this helps because if your opponent destroys your zombie world and you've got this and Vampire Sucker, and you can special summon back the Doom King from your graveyard and then hard trigger it that way, so at least you still have 1 disruption. Or you could just steal whatever they're trying to access from their graveyard. And this card plus, if you are able to get Jack-O Bolin plus Omega on the field, that will be pretty annoying for your opponent because they just keep tagging in and out, and your opponent they don't really have a window to destroy them unless it's like as a direct chain to those cards. So it's pretty funny when you are able to just like Jack-O Bolin Omega tag team your opponent. Hand traps, triple Ash. I don't know if this is just like the best generic hand trap. You gotta play Ash. I was considering playing Ghost Spell, but as always, Ghost Spell is very situational, depending on whether or not people are playing Call by the Grave or graveyard heavy decks. So, and I just never have space for it, even though it's good in theory. I feel like it's not as live as some other cards, so I like to play cards that are more just live all the time. So we get into the danger package because these just help you start your combo, get more consistency, get cards to the graveyard. These dangers do everything for you. These are the more consistent ones, but I'm also playing triple Mothman. So Mothman's really good in this deck because it's level 4, which helps set up your end board. It also synergizes with the Unizombie, because then you can access level 7 and level 8 synchros. And then the effect of this Mothman is that when it's discarded by its own, when your opponent snipes this and this gets discarded, both players draw one, discard one, and that's optional. So you usually want to do that if you have a Mizuki or a Banshee in your hand, or a Balrog. So a lot of people don't like this because it helps your opponent. So it kind of depends on the matchup. Like, you could always just side it out, but this really adds to your consistency because, and I'm playing 3, so I don't mind playing the extra Mizuki. And yeah, level 4 is really good because that's the main thing that you want to get on the field. Okay, non-zombie, non-danger cards. Jet Synchron. I might cut this because it's kind of unnecessary, but it's a nice card because it allows you to extend if you are able to get this to the graveyard. If you discard it off Unizombie or something else. It's a 1-for-1 target, and it allows you to go into the Halki Fibrax, or you can summon it off the Halki Fibrax to go a quick Boral Sword or any Link 4 that you want. So it's not bad. And then I play one Dragon Buster Destruction Sword just to abuse with Union Carrier. So Doom King equipped with this off of Union Carrier means he's 3800 attack. Your opponent can't special summon from an extra deck, and you have two disruptions on him. So that's pretty good. And let's go into the spells. Triple Zombie World. You know me, I've said in multiple deck profiles, always play 3, because I've seen some combo decks play 2, and that's probably fine for a combo deck, but we are a mid-range control. I say mid-range as in, like, you set up multiple disruptions going first, you try to, simplify the game state, and then you can set up an easy way to OTK. So you're kind of in that mid-range where you're not like 7 negation first turn, and you're also not an OTK deck going blind second deck. But Zombie World, really good to turn everything into zombies. And I don't know if see, the thing about this is with this deck is Zombie World is very meta dependent on how much it affects your opponents, depending on what decks they're playing. So I haven't tested against what people are playing, so I don't know how anti-meta this card is right now, but it does a lot on its own for this deck. So definitely make sure you play 3 because you want to see in your opening hand. And I don't like terraforming or anything like that because you want to see this in your opening hand as much as possible, but you don't want to see multiple, because that could have been an extra card to help you extend or another form of disruption. Speaking of disruption, probably the most disruptive card that you can play in a zombie deck. For your opponent, at least, because Super Poly plus Zombie World means you fuse any 2 of their monsters, non-targeting, non-destruction. Really just solves all problems, and honestly feels dirty playing this because sometimes you just win automatically because you Super Poly 2 of your opponent's monsters that they really needed. Triple Called by the Grave. Stop hand traps. Remember, this deck is still pretty normal summon reliant if you don't open Zombie World in your hand, because if you open Unizombie plus Zombie World and an extender, you can still go through one hand trap. Like if your opponent ashes you, it doesn't matter because you can still, say you have Danger Mothman or something, you summon that, and then you summon Unizombie, your opponent ashes, well then you got the Zombie World plus the access to Halki Fibrax, and then that accesses Bloom. In turn, that accesses Ballatrock. So, Call by the Grave is still really good though, because then you don't want to get hit by Ash or Valor. And then the one-up spell cards I'm playing. Foolish Burial makes any hand a good hand. 1-for-1. I've added this back in because getting access to a tuner from your deck off of this one card. This also makes your hand really good. So, and then we play 2 Bloom, and then the Jet Synchron, and then the Dragon Destruction Sword is also an additional target if you really needed to access that, but main thing you want to access first is Jet Synchron, and then the Bloom if you need Bloom. And then, so I'm playing 42 cards. The last two are Rivalry of Warlords. I figured, okay, I just throw these two cards in instead of trying to fit three. So I think if you have space, you could play three, but I'm currently at 42 cards. And you guys know me, I don't care about playing 40 cards in zombies because I don't think that extra 2 cards really matters because all the zombies are dumpable with the Unizombie or searchable. So really it's up to your personal preference. I like playing 42 cards in zombies. It just gives you some more flexibility when siding out. And also there's some things like Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twister that I would probably have to play because everyone's playing Elderlich or things. Yeah, like if you need back row, then I would have to probably cut a Mothman and then, I don't know, maybe a Mizuki. Really depends. So, Rivalry Warlords, with you guys know the lock with Zombie World, your opponent basically cannot summon monsters except from the graveyard because they can only control one type, which would be zombies if you turn them into zombies. But that's the main deck. I'm going to get into the extra deck. And keep in mind, there's just a lot of different options that you can play nowadays. So whatever you got, make the most of it. There's things I'm not playing that are really good, like IP Masquerena, Appaloosa, and there's maybe a couple other things that are... Honestly, if you're considering playing an expensive card, just keep in mind, if it's in the extra deck, you probably don't need it as much as you think you do. Unless you're playing competitively at regionals or something, then you might want to get access to those. But speaking of, I don't know if you guys consider this expensive, it's like $20-something right now. Hauki Fibrax, basically one of the most impactful extra deck monsters to come out for zombies in recent memory, because this requires 2 monsters, including a tuner, which is Unizombie, and then your other monsters that you play that are tuners. And then when it's summoned, you can special summon a level 3 or lower tuner from your deck, so you're going to access your Glow Up Bloom or your Jet Synchron. And the main thing about this is that it accesses Glow Up Bloom in another way from your extra deck, which is really important because now you're not 100% reliant on Unizombie to get to dump Bloom. So you can actually combo more now than before, just off that itself. Link Karibo, just for the level 1 to link off your Bloom. I'm playing Vampire Sucker at 1, just to make space for some new stuff to test out. And I don't know how other people play with Vampire Sucker, but if you are using this optimally, you can draw 1 on your turn and a 1 on your opponent's turn. So on your first turn, you set up a Mizuki in the graveyard and then summon something back, trigger it to draw, and then your opponent's turn, you summon Battle Drock back and then trigger it to draw. You essentially Pot of Greed off this card, which is really underrated. And highly recommend picking yourself up one of those if you're a zombie player. Avenged Savior. This is an option for you going second or in the grind game to beat over monsters and set up your graveyard because it Foolish Burials a zombie during the damage step. It's really good. I've won a lot of games off this, just it helps you recover, or your opponent will negate a bunch of things, and then if you still have 2 monsters in the field, you can go into this and attack over something. That's 3,000 or less. And then I'm playing 1 Predaplant Verte Anaconda. I'll be honest, this might not be necessary, because the cool thing is that you can activate Super Poly from the deck. If you have Zombie World on the field, that's any 2 monsters, and you just have to pay 2,000 life points. It's pretty ridiculous, honestly, but if you guys don't have the budget for this, I would not recommend buying it, because it's probably not where I would put $25+ into. Definitely pick up the Halki Fibrax first, and then spend the money on some other things. Looking out if you're a budget player. Union Carrier. This card is very good. In this deck, I don't know if it's essential, but you do get the free Destruction Sword extra deck lock off of this card. And I've seen some other people use the Artifact Dagda and the Scythe, but that requires an additional extender to summon the Dagda, I think. Because you need to have the Halki Fibrax and the Dagda on the field. I prefer Union Carrier just because it's easier to access the lock. But I do see the advantages of playing the Artifact over this. But I like Union Carrier. You can always equip a Bloom or a Mizuki to do some other shenanigans, but it's definitely not as good as the Buster Lock, so you do have backup plays if you or somehow just don't have access to the Destruction Sword. One Nightmare Phoenix, so this card, you just have to play it because we don't main deck spell and trap removal, so Phoenix definitely a staple in the extra deck. Okay, I play a Yugioh, the Absolute Zero Mayakashi. So this one is a Link 4. It requires 2+ zombie monsters, which is it's good solely for that because you can summon this when you're locked into Bloom. But the effect is actually pretty handy. But I haven't, like I said, I haven't played in tournaments, so I don't know how practical this is. It's good in theory, but it requires you to have some other cards to work around to make the most of this. But basically, your opponent's banished monsters have their effects negated when they try to resolve. So if you trigger Doom King to banish your opponent's monster, and that monster has a chain link activated previously, this will negate it if it's on the field. So that's a cool thing. And then if you special summon a monster, well, if a monster is special summoned from the graveyard, or if a monster effect is activated in the graveyard, you can target one other face-up monster in the field, change its attack to 0, and negate its effects. So the cool thing about this, if you activate Mizuki while this is on the field, you get to trigger this twice. Like, this will trigger twice consecutively on a separate chain. Because it's a trigger effect and you triggered it twice. And this can be activated up to twice per turn. So they clearly designed it to work with Mizuki, which is cool. It also gives you, if you have a Banshee in the graveyard during your opponent's turn, it gives you an additional form of, what do you call it? Like, I would call it like slow disruption, because it works off a trigger effect that it works on a separate chain. So, but there are some cool things you do with that. And now I put Bulbasaur Dragon back in because Halki Fibrax makes it easy to access Link 4. If you don't have a Bulbasaur, definitely just stick to Shogun Saga and Red Eye Zombie Necro, and that works just as well, in my opinion. So I play Shooting Riser Dragon as the Halki Fibrax target. You could definitely play things like Formula Synchron or TG Wonder Magician, but in this build, Shooting Riser has the most versatility because you can change its level, and it Foolish Burials any monster that has a lower level than this. So basically, if you summon Halki Fibrax during your opponent's turn, you can go into this and guarantee you have a Mizuki in grave for next turn. Or you can send a Banshee to ensure that you have access to Zombie World for next turn. Just keep in mind you cannot use the monster that you send, the effects of that monster for the rest of the turn. So this is really good because it gives you flexibility. And then I play F8 Don Dragster as level 7. And being able to go into this on your opening board is so good because you can stop Call by the Grave, Lightning Storm, Twin Twisters. Evenly matched. So that's really handy to have. Omega is level 8. Really good. Like I said earlier with the Jackabolin to tag in and out just to mess with your opponent. Shogun Saga, alternate way to go into OTKs if you activate a Glow Bloom. And then the super poly targets, Starving Venom and Dragon Necro. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see the combo and test hand video, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to be on the lookout for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.